Title: Not Every Star Shines the Brightest. Chapter 1: The Golden Sun. The Johnson household was never quiet on results day. It didn't matter whether it was Primary 6, Junior WAEC, or Senior WAEC. Once Chris Johnson brought his papers home, the whole compound would shake with celebration. That evening, neighbours crowded the veranda, fanning themselves against the dusty Harmattan air while Mama's pots clanged in the kitchen. Papa had sent Esther, the last-born, to fetch crates of malt from the corner shop. The landlord's wife, Madam Grace, had already pulled her chair across from her flat, shaking her head in admiration. "Mr. Johnson, you are a blessed man," she said, eyeing the paper in Papa's hand. 9 A's! Who sees that in this country again? Papa's chest rose with pride, and his laughter carried across the street. "My son will be a great man. I said it before, and I am saying it again. This one will carry my name to places my feet can never reach." Chris, tall and fair like Mama, stood near the doorway, pretending to be shy but unable to hide the small smile tugging at his lips. He was used to this attention, the claps, the handshakes, the way even grown men slapped his back as though he were already a senator. In the shadows of the corridor, Timothy watched. At 16, Timothy was wiry, a little shorter than Chris, with eyes that often looked as though they were searching for something unseen. He clutched his own exercise book in one hand, his last test paper from school. A mixture of C's and B's stared back at him. Nothing terrible, but nothing to spark applause either. Mama spotted him and beckoned gently. "Timmy, why are you standing there? Come, sit." But Papa barely noticed. He was too busy parading Chris's result before everyone who came near. "Do you know what this means? My investment is not wasted. University awaits him. My son will be a doctor or lawyer or whatever he chooses. Ah, God has favored me." Timothy lowered his head. He didn't envy Chris exactly, but the comparison stung. Every praise for Chris was a silent reminder of what Timothy was not. Later that night, after the guests left and the compound quieted, Timothy lingered by Papa's chair. "Papa," he began hesitantly, "I was thinking, maybe when I finish school I could learn tailoring. Uncle Raymond said he can take me." Papa's hand cut the air, sharp as a whip. "Tailoring? Timothy, have you no ambition? Is that why I sent you to school? You think I will waste money, only for you to sit at a sewing machine like a woman? Face your books. Don't disgrace me." The words burned more than Timothy expected. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Papa had already returned to polishing his glasses, humming to himself, as though the conversation never mattered. Timothy swallowed hard and retreated to his corner of the room. On the opposite bed, Chris was already asleep, his chest rising in steady confidence. Timothy lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He wasn't Chris, the golden son with brains brighter than the sun. He was just Timothy, the boy whose dreams didn't fit into Papa's vision of success. But as the night stretched long, one thought settled deep in his heart. Even if Papa didn't believe in him, maybe, just maybe, he could still find his own way to shine. Chapter 2: Shadows Beside the Light. The next Sunday morning, the church was buzzing even before the choir sang the opening hymn. Word had already spread about Chris's results. By the time the Johnson family walked in, they were the centre of attention. "Ah, Sister Mary, congratulations, oh!" one of the deaconesses exclaimed, grabbing Mama's hand as they entered. "Your son is a genius. God has truly honoured your family." Papa's face glowed as he steered Chris forward. Timothy and Esther trailed behind, almost invisible. When the pastor mounted the pulpit, he didn't waste time. "Brethren," he boomed, "we are blessed to have young people doing well in our midst. Today, I want us to celebrate Brother Chris Johnson, 9 A's in WAEC. The congregation erupted in claps and cheers. Chris was asked to stand. His neat shirt caught the light as Papa proudly draped an arm around his shoulder. Timothy shifted uncomfortably on the pew. He wanted to clap too, but his palms felt heavy. It wasn't jealousy, he loved his brother. But every cheer was like a hammer pounding the fact that he was ordinary, just ordinary. When they returned home, Mama served jollof rice with fried chicken, something reserved for special occasions. Papa even brought out a bottle of malt for Chris. For Timothy, he slid a cup of water across the table. "Drink that and learn from your brother," Papa said without looking up. Timothy's throat tightened. He took the cup without a word. That night, while the compound children played football outside, Timothy sat by the window, notebook in hand. He drew crooked designs, shirts, trousers, dresses. He shaded them with his pencil, imagining fabrics, colours, stitches. "Why do you waste time with that?" Chris's voice startled him. His elder brother leaned against the doorframe, arms folded. "Papa will never support you with this sewing dream. You know that, right?" Timothy bit his lip but nodded. I like it. I feel alive when I do it." Chris sighed. "Then you'll have to fight for it. Papa won't change his mind easily." The words stayed with Timothy long after Chris walked away. A week later, Timothy overheard something that pierced deeper than any sermon or slap. Papa was speaking to a visitor in the veranda. "Clement, sorry, Chris, he will take us places. That boy is my pride. As for Timothy..." Papa's voice dropped. "Let's just say he's still looking for himself." Timothy froze by the kitchen door, heart pounding. Still looking for himself. The words rolled in his head like stones. That evening, Mama found him sitting outside, staring into the darkness. "Timmy, what's wrong?" she asked gently. He forced a smile. "Nothing, Mama." But inside, he promised himself, one day Papa would see him, not as the other one, not as the shadow of Chris, but as Timothy, the boy who refused to disappear. Chapter 3. The Golden Path. Chris's admission letter arrived in a crisp brown envelope, stamped with the emblem of a prestigious private university. Papa held it up as though it were a royal decree. "My investment has not been in vain," he shouted, his voice booming through the house. "Chris will lift this family from the dust. The Johnson name will shine." He danced around the living room with the letter, while neighbours peeked through the open window, nodding with admiration. Papa sold one of his plots of land the following week to pay the acceptance fee. When that wasn't enough, he borrowed money from the church's cooperative. Mama suggested maybe Chris could try a federal school, cheaper, closer, but Papa waved her off. "No, my son deserves the best. He will not sit in overcrowded classrooms. He is not like the others." Timothy stood quietly in the corner, pretending to adjust the curtain. Not like the others. The words stung. The day Chris was leaving for school, the house turned into a carnival. Aunties brought food, uncles dropped envelopes of cash, neighbours carried suitcases to the waiting car. Papa killed 2 chickens, something he never did for anyone else. The air was filled with smoke, laughter, and high hopes. "Make us proud, my son," Papa said, slipping a wad of money into Chris's pocket. "Remember, the whole family depends on you." Timothy helped load Chris's boxes into the boot. He caught a glimpse of shiny textbooks, perfumes, and a brand new laptop Papa had somehow managed to buy. When the car finally drove off, leaving a trail of dust, Timothy stood at the gate, his heart heavy but quiet. That night, Papa gathered the family in the sitting room. "Now, everyone must tighten their belts. School fees, upkeep, projects, these things are not cheap. But it will all be worth it when Chris graduates and begins to take care of us." He turned to Timothy. "As for you, no distractions. Face your books. Forget this tailoring nonsense. Don't embarrass me." Timothy nodded silently, though inside his drawings called to him. Pages of designs tucked under his mattress, waiting like seeds in the dark. Weeks later, letters from Chris arrived, at first filled with stories of lectures, friends, and campus life. Papa would read them aloud, chest puffed with pride. "My boy is going places." But as time passed, the letters slowed. When Chris came home for the first holiday, something was different. He was quieter. He stayed longer in his room. His once bright eyes now carried shadows. But Papa didn't notice. He was too busy boasting to anyone who cared to listen. "Chris will soon graduate. My joy will be full." Timothy noticed, though. He saw the way Chris avoided questions, how he sometimes slipped out at night, how his laughter no longer reached his eyes. The golden path Papa had paved for Chris was beginning to crack, and Timothy, standing in the background, felt a storm was coming.